Hey there, I'm Daryl, and welcome back to my channel, and maybe welcome to my messy desk. But anyway, if you're new, welcome. Hopefully you'll subscribe. I'm going to demonstrate how to tie up a Chuck Kraft Hellgrammite. It's the last fly in my smallmouth series, and then I'm going to get into some trout flies for an upcoming trip in South Carolina. And anyway, so we'll do a 6 fly series on that, even though I might tie up more than 6 flies. But anyway, let's take a look at this fly and get tying it. Well, this messy looking fly is Chuck Kraft's Hellgrammite. It actually will swim like this. Some materials you might not need, but we're going to tie it with how Chuck Kraft would have tied it, and on there. And I'll identify as we go along. Maybe some things I think could be optional on there, and only because it's an easy fly to tie, but yet some of the materials make it pretty complicated. So you'll need, you know, the standard fly tying stuff, and then maybe you'll be using a little bit of super glue by putting this thing together. Anyway, let's get tying. The hook I'm going to use is a TMC 5263. It's a 3X long, 2X heavy, size 6 is what I'm going to put on. And I'm going to debarb my hook. On there. Let's see if I can center that better. Alright. The thread I'm going to use is some 6/0 black. And I'm going to go ahead and start this right here just behind the eye of the hook. And I'm just going to put on a dumbbell eye. In this case I'm using a black, and it's large. And you can use whatever size you want. It's, you know, the fly is going to ride in the current through the bottom of the rocky river bottom. That's where Hellgrammites like, is a lot of rocks. And you know, these little, this is actually the larva part, or maybe you want to call it the nymph. It's of the dobsonfly on there. Double check that. And I'm not going to super glue that right at all for now, because like I said, we'll use quite a bit of super glue around that eye. I'm going to advance my thread just past the curve curve of the hook. Next material I'm going to use is some black chenille, and I'm going to strip a little bit of the material off to get to the core. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out a short grizzly hackle to run the length there. You know, one about like that. And I'm going to trim the fluffiness down here off. And then I'm going to tie it in by the tip. And this is going to represent a lot of the legs or gills that a hellgrammite has. Then we're going to wrap our chenille forward. And you could use chenille that's just black or even brown or whatever color you really want. Olive. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap our feather. And the length of the barb should probably be just about the hook gap, or maybe a little past is okay. And don't counter wrap it, this way the ribbing will, the quill of the feather will fall in between the valleys of in between the chenille wraps. And we'll snip that off. Now the next material I'm sorry, I think I mentioned that was a size 6, but actually this is a size 4 hook. But you can get the bodies from Eastern Trophies fly fishing. And they look like this. Makes it kind of easy to do it. And there's already a hole punched right there. I don't know if you can see that. But these are kind of lined up for this type of hook. A 3X long and whatever size tail you get. Because the holes are pre-punched. If you wanted to, you could probably punch your own hole if you're using a longer hook, but try to get that hook in there. There we go. And then I'm going to take it out of the hook and run it up around the bar, or around to the curve, and put it back in. Next we're going to use some round rubber legs. You can either use large or medium. I'm going to use large. And this is where the super glue is going to come in. And I'm going to put some super glue about in the center just the dot right there. And we're not going to tie these in. We're going to let the super glue hold them. So we're going to put 3 of them in, one straight across. You could probably get by with only 2. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more in there, because it's like stacking these legs up. Looks like I got 2 crosses there, so I'm going to go ahead and put another one in. Straight. And then I'm going to put in some super glue, run a bead. To tie in my tail, my body. And get my bodkin here and tie this front part in. The next material is going to be some of these from Eastern Trophies fly fishing. It's their popper tail. This is going to help create the head. Kind of looks like that there. And you're going to have to put a hole in it, roughly about 1/4 of an inch from the narrow end. With your bodkin. And this is the hard part. You're going to have to try to get the eye of the hook through that. Now this part here you could probably leave off. And this is suede material. There we go. And that V part's going to be on the top, so we're going to flip this over. And our next material we're going to use, and I think this could be optional as well, you could probably use rubber legs for it, is going to be a screw tip protector. You're going to cut off a slice. A small slice of that. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut part of this out. And this is going to be its pincers. And we're going to put that underneath this narrow end between the eye of the hook and the dumbbell eyes. And this is kind of a challenge. And there you go, that's kind of got the pincers in there. Next we'll take a black calf tail out of our assorted calf tail parts that I've told you about before. You can get those sample packs of different colors. And we're going to put a wing in there. And then I'm gonna kind of, if there's any under fibers. You're going to want this to go back to about where the point of the hook is. And then what we're going to do is some super glue again to hold those fibers in place. And also kind of hold that there in place a little bit. And then I'm going to come around the front again, and I'm going to tie off and do a whip finish. I'm going to lift up a gap right there, and then I'm going to put a drop of super glue right there to kind of keep that down, preventing it from fouling around the hook. And add a little head cement to protect my shreds, because it's going to be bouncing along the bottom off of rocks. And then we're going to go ahead and kind of make these all about the same length. And that fly will ride like that through the water, hopefully. And there you have it, a Chuck Kraft Critter Mite. Supposed to imitate a hellgrammite. Any kind of fish really loves those. Alright. Alright, that there concludes our smallmouth 6 fly series for the greenbrier. Competition coming up in I think the end of May. I can't remember the exact dates, but as soon as they got it released in the Tourney X, I'll share that information on my YouTube channel. If you're interested, you want to come up, and it's a fun event. It really is. But yeah, those pincers, I think the pincers and this part here could be optional. Maybe you can drop it down to 2 legs. But anyway, give this fly a try. You'd be surprised. Tie it in other sizes for brim, for your trout. You know, a big trout might even take this size of a fly. So anyway, we will see you on the water. Let me know how it works for you.